Doot, 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 doot. We're here with Pat Fitzmaurice and Derek Brown from Fantasy Pros. Me, Theo Greminger, representing Player Profiler. Pat and Derek representing Fantasy Pros. We are going to mock draft today, and the format is 4 teams drafting, having hoarded all the picks. So we're not going to be 3 different teams, 4 guys representing 3 different teams. That's really confusing. I want to create a roster. I want to imagine I have one roster, and I'm going to supplement that roster with rookie picks. And I've been trading for picks, and Pat's been trading for picks, and Derek's been trading for picks, and Theo's been trading for picks. And that's what we're going to do. We're going all rapid fire, 4 rounds, super flex, tight end premium. Off we go. Ooh, baby.
Quick little segue before we start for the people. This is our 3rd year in a row, Matt, with the Fantasy Pros crossover here. Just a quick shout out to Pat and Debro, who have come on now. This is 3 straight years in Sonic Truth doing the rookie draft with us. Pat, what do you have going on this time of year, man?
Yeah, Theo, thanks for having us. You and Matt, 2 of my favorite guys in the biz, and getting to do this with my guy Debro too is pretty fun. So appreciate you having us on. Check out our draft simulator, fantasypros.com/simulator. Do your own rookie mocks, get those reps in before your dynasty rookie mock, and come check us out on Discord, where you can interact with us directly, fantasypros.com/chat.
And Debro, you're rocking and rolling this time of year. You're putting them out. No Thor this year, but the show must go on. Tell everybody about your NFL draft show you're dropping.
Oh man, it's a great time, baby. And I mean, look, we're talking about all these prospects today. Shout out to you guys for having us on. I love talking ball with y'all any day that I get a chance to do this, and Pat included. It's a good time. Yeah, dude, the NFL draft show for Fantasy Pros, man. 2nd year in a row we're doing this. Really my baby this year. So trying to hit all the bells and whistles, getting a lot of guests on, getting everybody in there. And so if anybody has not checked it out, it is over on the Fantasy Pros Dynasty feed. As far as all the rest of things and stuff, man, I got my top 100 that I'm still building that with player write-ups, and all my positional primers will be, depending on when you're listening to this, out this week, the week of the NFL Combine.
Yeah, and we are recording this before the NFL Combine. So if somebody's listening to this after the NFL Combine, we'll have a lot more information on our way. Matt, I'm going to go ahead and get us started. I have the 101 this time. Last time we drafted Matt, you had the 101. I'm not going to waste anybody's time. It's super flex, but it's still Ashton Jeanty. It's Ashton Jeanty. It's Ashton Jeanty. It's Ashton Jeanty. The only question is not whether or not he should be the 101 in rookie drafts. It's where does he fall in like the dynasty landscape overall? Where does he fall overall in the running back rankings? And it's pretty high. So 101 off the board, Ashton Jeanty, running back, Boise State. Lock it in. Passing it over to you, Debro.
Man, I feel like this pick is one where you can go in a lot of different ways. If you want to lean into quarterback and super flex and things like that, I'm just going to make this easy. I'm going Tet McMillan. I think he's a guy that is in a tier by himself at wide receiver 1 of this class. Love him. Plug and play X receiver. I think he's Drake London with more juice after the catch, man. So while we could parse through all the quarterbacks that I could have gone with and who people's QB1 is, I'm taking the clear wide receiver 1 off the board.
Love it. Love Tet. Matt Kelly at the 103.
I was hoping he would say that. I was like, oh, man, Cam Ward or Tet McMillan, which way is he going? And he went Tet McMillan, which is better for me. In Superflex, I want a quarterback. And there's about 4 quarterbacks I like drafting in rookie drafts this year. 2 of them in the first round. We will talk about them momentarily. I think with game theory, knowing how strong this running back class is, that you guys are going to be wanting to draft running backs, and I'm going to gamble. I'm going to gamble that I can get a quarterback with my next pick. That's the gamble. Now, maybe you guys just rat-a-tat-tat quarterback, and it was a poor gamble. But I'm doing it. We're gambling. We're rolling the dice. I do believe that These quarterbacks are just not sexy enough to draft here. They're just not. And I think that you all are going to talk yourselves out of these guys and go wide receiver, go running back, maybe even go tight end. Who knows what you're going to do before my next pick. So for that reason, green light right here to go Omarion Hampton. Omarion Hampton to me is the clear second best running back in this class. 2 straight seasons with 1,500 yards. He's one of a number of running backs in this class with 2 straight seasons of 1,500 yards. 2 straight seasons of 15-plus touchdowns. 2 straight seasons of 30-plus catches. 29 catches in 2023. Excuse me. He had 38 last year. So we're talking about a 38-catch season with 373 receiving yards and 1,660 yards at North Carolina. There's nothing that he doesn't do well. There's nothing that he doesn't bring to the table. He's 220 pounds. He's still only 21 years old. There's nothing else to say. Like, his target share was 11.2, 85th percentile at 220 pounds. So you give me size with soft hands, those kinds of receiving skills, and he can just plow snow between the tackles. How do you not love this guy? He would be the running back, the number 1 running back in most classes, and it's a gift to get him right here. Love it. Omarion Hampton.
Love it. I love Hampton. Hampton's my RB2 in this class. I think he's a stud. I love the pick. I have no problem with that. Pat, which way are you going? 104.
Yeah, I admire the chutzpah from the Podfather going with the second running back ahead of any of the quarterbacks. And I know Omarion Hampton is my RB2 in this class. I know that's also not a unanimous opinion among the Fantasy Pro staffers on this show. Maybe Debo can expound later. But for now, I'm going to take Shedeur Sanders. And he is my top quarterback in this. And Theo, I was listening to you talk to our buddy Thor Nystrom recently about Shedeur and how he is also Thor's QB1 in this class, and how there's sort of a gap in perception between, you've got the son of Deion Sanders. Shedeur can be kind of brash when he talks to the media. But like, he is the most conscientious ball placement guy I've seen in a long time. Like, he's not just accurate. Like, he throws balls, like he'll throw a ball low and away so only his receiver can get it. Can't be intercepted. Won't ever throw a hospital ball. Like, he is accurate and really smart about where he puts the ball. He's great at like reading defenses, going through progressions, keeps his eyes downfield. Like, fantasy managers might actually not like this because he doesn't run as often as he could. He's like obsessed with keeping his eyes downfield and looking for open receivers. So I think Shedeur is a lot more advanced, a QB prospect than people give him credit for. And to me, I don't even think it's that close between him and Cam Ward, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, appreciate you listening to the Thor episode, and Thor makes everybody want to draft Shedeur Sanders when he talks about him, because he has the most lit comp ever. Compared him to Drew Brees on Dynasty Life. And he said he had to check in with you before he dropped that.
I got a text about that comp before he slung it.
It was so hot, but I'm with you. I think that Shedeur Sanders, if his last name wasn't Sanders, would not be as much of a lightning rod. I think that's a whole nother conversation, but people love piling up on Deion Sanders, and it's sort of trickled down to Shedeur. But much like we saw with Bo Nix last year, much like we saw with Jaden Daniels, he comes in with an incredible amount of experience, and he can make a lot of throws. So I have no problem with him over Ward. I personally have Ward. And guys, this is like, I'm sitting here with Matt Kelly, the Podfather, who the value of the 101, a quarterback who goes off the board with the first overall pick. Matt has talked about this for years and years. It insulates you. The value is incredible. And I'm sitting here at the 105, and I have what I think will be the number 1 pick in the draft, Cam Ward, standing right in front of me. But guys, we're doing this right before the NFL Combine, and TreVeyon Henderson is about to light up the NFL Combine. He's about to put himself into the first round of the NFL Draft. We're going to have 2, possibly 3 running backs in the first round of the NFL Draft this year. TreVeyon Henderson. NFL teams want big plays. This is Jahmyr Gibbs. This is Devon Achane. They're looking for that guy, that high-value touch guy who can house it on any play, has the receiving ability. TreVeyon Henderson, explosive player. I think NFL teams are going to love him. I might have him as like RB4 right now. But for me, I got to go with where the draft capital goes and the two-way ability. Henderson could end up being the 102 in single QB drafts ahead of Tet McMillan if he gets that first round draft capital. So I'm going to lock in TreVeyon Henderson at the 105. Kicking it right back to you, D, bro.
Damn you, Theo. That was a good pick. I love TreVeyon. I watched his film, and I think it was like 2 a.m. in the morning when I was watching TreVeyon, and I was blown away, man. I was like, this guy is an absolute stud. All right, Podfather. I got to sit here and dig the dagger a little bit. I don't know where you're at on this guy, but I know you were waiting on quarterback. I'm going to take another quarterback here, and
Damn it.
I think this is a statement pick
Damn it.
versus the consensus. I'm not going to go with Cam Ward, which I'm guessing everybody's watching this and expecting me to go Cam Ward. I'm not going Cam Ward. So maybe I'm making the Podfather extremely happy here. I'm going with my QB2 in the process, the guy that I really believe in. He is going to offer some rushing equity, but when I turned on his tape, there were shades of Jaden Daniels, and I don't want to evoke that name and be silly about this, but there were shades of Jaden Daniels, especially in his deep ball prowess. I freaking love Jaxson Dart. I'm taking him here at the 106, baby.
I mean, I think he's a first-round pick. I've said he's a top 15 pick multiple times over. We were in Mobile together, D-Bro, and he was certainly the best quarterback on the field. Matt, this sort of makes your life quite easy, though. I'm guessing I can guess which way you're going to go, Matt.
This was not scripted. Okay,
Yeah.
we sat down together just now. Theo threw up a streaming link on Twitter X. 4 of us jumped on. No agenda. This is not scripted. This is not sandbag. I did not know this would happen. I assumed that Theo would spite me and go Cam Ward. He didn't. I assumed D-Bro was going Cam Ward if he's going quarterback. He didn't. So with my next pick, with the 107, I get to draft Cam Ward, and the risk paid off. Oh, yes. I risked it all to get Hampton, and it paid off. Put me down for Cam Ward.
3 quarterbacks off the board through 7 picks. We're gonna recap the first round after we get to the end of it. But Pat, you are OTC. Which way you going?
So many good running backs left. Certainly some who would warrant selection here, but I'm going to go and tap the wide receiver position because there are only a handful of potential difference makers in this draft. One of them, Luther Burden from Missouri. And I know he did not have the greatest 2024 season. Fewer receiving yards than his teammate Theo Weiss, who's probably going to be like a 7th round pick in this draft. But it was a weird year for the Missouri offense, which didn't click for a lot of the season. Brady Cook, their quarterback, had a lot of injuries. So there are reasons why the numbers weren't as shiny as they had been in 2023. But Burden there are not many guys in this draft who move like Luther Burden. And, my favorite comp to him, also not a football comp, it's Allen Iverson. Like he just has that first step quickness. And after the catch, the dude is just lethal. I mean, he is the most elusive wide receiver after the catch in this draft. So I'm going to take Luther Burden here and attack running back a little later on.
That's one of the best. I love the multiple sport comps, Pat. That's absolute fire right there. The Allen Iverson comparison. That's very, very cool stuff right there.
Thanks, man. Yeah, he is an ankle breaker for sure at the wide receiver position.
If he's so good, then why is every mock drafter Daniel Jeremiah and down the list leaving him out of the first round?
I've heard the speculation that he could fall out of the first round. I'm not sure I'm buying it. Like I just, given the number of wide receivers we've seen go in first rounds in recent drafts, I have a hard time believing that Burden falls out of the first round. And I can't imagine that people are going to be tapping into that Tre Harris, Elic, Ayomanor tier before they hit Luther Burden. We'll see about that. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if Emeka Egbuka goes before him. I think Egbuka is a safer pick. I heard Theo mention that on a recent show too. I agree, safer. But I think Burden's upside rivals Tet McMillan's among the receivers in this class.
It's interesting, Matt, because you've got that's Luther Burden, JJ Zachariason's very, very high on. Cody Carpentier, that's his wide receiver 1 in the class. Pat, you were just very high on him. I had Alfredo Brown super high on him, but there's like a disconnect in the NFL guys and the fantasy guys when it comes to Burden. We're going to find out a lot at the combine too, guys. He could regain a little bit of momentum here. But I will say that one thing,
or he could be Jermaine Burden.
Or that disconnect, is he the Hakeem Butler of this draft? Oh my god, no.
I don't know. Listen, when he's in free fall in the mock drafts, coming off a super, maybe the most disappointing season of anyone in this draft class, there could be something else there. I'm worried that some other red flags will surface after the combine. It's a dangerous pick you made.
It's interesting, guys, when we look at like some of the actual NFL mock drafts, but I look at that end of the first round, and I think we could actually get a run on wide receivers. Houston 25, Rams 26, Washington Commanders 29, Buffalo Bills 30, Steelers before them, Packers, you could make a case, could use a true number 1. So it's like you've got all these wide receiver needy teams. You have T. Higgins and Chris Godwin off the board, the two like the prime asset free agent wide receivers. So either we get a bunch of really fun cut candidates who fill people's needs, or some trades that we're not anticipating, or we see this class like get bumps up, because I don't know, there's enough guys with juice that I think could have strong combines that could end up there. You know, spoiler alert, we're going to reveal some of these names, but you guys left me with a really easy pick here. I could go with Egbuka. I could go with it's tight end premium as well, guys, which I think we're kind of burying the lead here. I could go with a big time running back, but for me, in a tight end premium draft, like our friends at FFPC, Tyler Warren's sitting on the board here, and he's going to get drafted potentially inside of the top 10 overall picks. I'm going to take Tyler Warren here at the 109. It's difficult for me to take him ahead of premium wide receivers, premium running backs. But guys, we've had back-to-back seasons with rookie tight ends finishing as a tight end 1 overall. Last year, we had 2 tight ends go over 100 catches, finish as the number 3 and number 4 highest reception totals all time at the position. It's Tyler Warren for me. I think that he's not Brock Bowers, but there's going to be NFL teams that say we can use him in a target volume sense like a Brock Bowers. So I think he's got big time fantasy potential and easy NFL draft capital.
I like that pick, Theo. I really do, man.
I was just going to say, you guys, do we have a definitive age on him?
Is he 22 and a half, correct? He's I know he's 3 years, technically, like the Colston, Loveland, Tyler Warren. Loveland also might go top 12. Like Loveland's steaming up and he might fly at the combine, but he's a lock to go top 20. I think we'll have two tight ends in the top 20. I've seen the age difference. Like Loveland's like 20 and Warren's like about 3 years older. So does that matter to us at the tight end position? Maybe there's a little more room to run for Loveland's profile, but Tyler Warren is that guy. I mean, he's tough, D-Bro. D-Bro, I know you love all those. Like, I know you love all the manufactured rushing attempts, D-Bro. Like you don't give that to a guy unless he's an absolute dog with some juice.
Yeah, I love Tyler Warren, man. Future Denver Bronco. Put him in the Joker role for Sean Payton. It's a match made in heaven, baby. Here for it.
Well, you're OTC, D-Bro.
Dude, I was hoping you weren't going to take my guy. I finished his film last night, writing him. I've already written up his profile for Fantasy Pros. I am head over heels for Tre Harris. I do not care that he is a polarizing prospect. I don't care at all. He's going to run 4.5 at the combine. Eat that Fitzy, because it's going to happen. Calling it now. I'm not worried about his speed. You want to look at the analytics. This guy has crushed. And for everybody that says he's a one-year wonder, you're wrong. Looking back at 2023, we're talking about a guy that was also top 10 in yards per route run, receiving grade, top 20 in yards per route run versus man coverage. I freaking love Tre Harris. An easy pick for me here.
And you're making things easy well, not necessarily easy, Matt. You got multiple good options here. Pat, anything to add on Tre Harris before we kick to Matt Kelly?
Yeah, I mean, D-Bro and I were texting about Tre Harris just, what was it, yesterday, D-Bro?
This morning. This
Oh, it
morning,
was
bro.
this morning. Okay. Yeah, I was walking the dog and texting with Debro and arguing about Tre Harris, multitasking. No, I like Tre Harris. I do. I've got a big wide receiver guy in the same phylum who I like a little more than Tre Harris this year. I just wonder what he's going to run. I'd love to see Tre run a 4.5. That would alleviate some of my concerns about him, because sometimes he looks almost a little bit lumbering out there. But he is a big, hard to tackle dude, and he will run by guys on occasion. Like if you get sloppy with your coverage, like he can beat you deep. So interesting
He
player
will be
for sure.
first corners deep. He will.
If anybody wants to watch just one game of Tre Harris, go watch 2023 versus LSU. That was fun. Absolute fun.
Against an LSU defense that gave up about 48 points a game in 20.
Debro, you are an Ole Miss guy. You really are. You put
Apparently,
Jaxson,
I'm taking the stack here.
This is a first in Sonic Truth history, Matt, that one
Look,
person
this is
took
how I
2
win.
Ole Miss players in the first round. So, Debro, you're all Matt. You have unbelievable options right here.
Clean up aisle 10. Clean up aisle 10. I'm just cleaning up the players you guys are leaving me. I feel like this is the Truman Show of mock drafts, where this is like, let's just set him up, right? It's like I'm LeBron and you three are Dwayne Wade. That's how I feel with this. I'm just gonna go best player available. Looking at the rookie rankings on PlayerProfiler.com. Subscribe now. Too easy. It's Kaleb Johnson.
Oh, it's a good pick.
So I get Hampton and Johnston and the 101 quarterback. Okay, cool. Yeah, the guy that goes 101 in the actual draft, I got at the 107, Cam Ward. So I'll take Kaleb Johnson, another 1,500 yard, 5 million touchdowns, 20 plus receptions in his final year. Super stud running back that in any other draft class could be argued is the best running back available. So I'll take him. I'll just take him. And at some point, I will want a wide receiver. Now, if this was single quarterback, I would have drafted a wide receiver already. The only time I really think you should be drafting wide receivers if you can get one of these top 5 guys, because then it really plateaus and you're much better off going running back. I have 3 picks per round. I still would like to draft at least one wide receiver, because you know what, I'm going to go on a running back run. But I think that between now and my next pick, these guys, as has been their history in this round so far, they will leave me a star.
Well, we'll do our best not to leave you too many stars, but that was a pretty easy pick. I'm surprised you didn't go Egbuka, Matt, but I know you're leaning into the running back this class. Caleb's a stud beast.
Caleb's amazing.
Yeah.
Also,
the trade value. The trade value. The running backs will retain their trade value better. There's like one running back who didn't retain value last year, which is Jonathan Brooks. Right. Most of these guys are accruing big value, whether it's Bucky Irving, whether it's Tyrone Tracy, or they still have premium handcuff value in Blake Corum. So whereas wide receivers, they don't hit in year one. Suddenly the speculation is they're on the Jonathan Mingo track. So that's why it's just more dangerous to go wide receiver, and you want to go with the guy you think is going to get first round capital. Can he be a top 40 pick? Yes or no? And that's what you guys you're saying, that Tre Harris is going to be a top 40 pick. That's what you're saying. And yep. I hope so. I love him. I think that will NFL teams love him as much as fantasy gamers? We'll see. But I think they will. Like you said, there's so much demand for wide receiver deep into the first round that he'll go there. So it's a good pick. But I like my pick better.
Of course you do. Of course you do. Pat, wrap us up. Finish out the first round for us.
I have to take the falling value with the Emeka Egbuka here. There's some other temptations here, Theo, but Egbuka is probably one of the highest floor rookie picks you can make in Dynasty. I just think he's such a safe bet, a very advanced route runner as a slot receiver who I think could offer very similar production to what we saw from Jaxson, Smith, and Jigba, another Ohio State product this year. Like I don't think he's going to break the combine with his testing, but just kind of one of those guys who's a better football player. Like he's really shifty. I don't think he's going to melt stopwatches running the 40, but like Egbuka is really shifty and consistently gains yards after the catch. And one of the things I like about him throughout the entirety of Emeka Egbuka's college career in Columbus, Ohio, he has been sharing the field with some outstanding wide receivers and still carving a niche for himself. Like, I'm not going to worry if he goes to a wide receiver room that's already pretty crowded, but please get him to Pittsburgh, man. Let him be the slot man for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like that would be, I think he's instantly their catch leader in 2025 if that happens.
That would be awesome. Egbuka is such a safe pick. There's some juice there, but at the end of the day, it's like if you want somebody that's going to be on your dynasty team for like 5 years and you're going to be happy to have him, Emeka Egbuka is that guy. And the draft capital should be there as well. Guys, great first round. I started out with Ashton Jeanty. Debro took Tet McMillan, wide receiver, Arizona. Matt Kelly took Omarion Hampton, running back from UNC. Pat took Shedeur Sanders, QB, Colorado. I took TreVeyon Henderson, running back, Ohio State. Debro took Jaxson Dart at the 106, QB, Ole Miss. Matt Kelly got Cam Ward, quarterback, Miami. Pat took Luther Burden, wide receiver, Missouri. I took Tyler Warren at the 109. This is tight end premium, tight end, Penn State. Debro flag planted and took Tre Harris, wide receiver, Ole Miss. Matt took Kaleb Johnson, running back, Iowa. And Pat closed out the first round with Emeka Egbuka, wide receiver, Ohio State. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to try to get through 4 rounds.
Rookie. It's all about rookie talk in fantasy football right now. So why not go use all that knowledge to do something other than a mock draft? Chris Gimino won $8,000 with just 2 teams last year, and each draft took 5 minutes. That's pretty good ROI. You can start doing rookie drafts for money today on Fast Draft. The Origins tournament is live. It is the place to go and monetize your knowledge of rookies and use your favorite Player Profiler host promo code for a $25 deposit match. Now let's go start drafting faster.
Some cool things on the way from Fast Draft. There's going to be some cool announcements coming up. Matt, we'll keep that one in the pocket, but something pretty cool to talk about soon. Do you want me to start this up, guys? Because you guys left me so much meat on the bone here at the 201. Quinshon,
before we get into it, so we just the latest draft that just happened at the Origins All Rookie game on Fast Draft. It went Jeanty, Ward, Sanders, McMillan, Kaleb Johnson at the 105, Omarion Hampton at the 106, Burden, Henderson, Dart, Egbuka. But notice the Podfather with 3 of the top 6 picks in the latest draft, a real money draft. This is his ADP. That's driven by people with skin in the game. I like those first 6 picks.
I'm going to start out the second round here. Easy one for me. Quinshon Judkins, running back, Ohio State, who's close enough to all the guys we talked about in that first round that I wouldn't be surprised if he's drafted ahead of 1 or 2 of them. Judkins, it's sort of like a prospect fatigue thing for a lot of people, but this guy's been good for so long. He's been good at multiple schools. We love seeing guys break out as young players, and he had one of the best seasons ever in SEC history by a freshman. Judkins obviously had the wonderful national championship game. He's got the size. He's got the juice. I think he's a starting running back in the NFL next season. Incredible value for me at the 201.
Great pick.
Debro, you are muted.
Well, that's lovely. Yeah, streamer are throwing that curveball at me. That's glorious. Golly. I'm getting my name changed. I'm muted. I can't seem to get it right now, boys. But I will get this pick right, though. I will say that because I really, really like the pick that you made there, Theo. I've got a lot of different ways I can go with this. I'm going to lean into the format, and I'm going to go all ceiling and format with this pick. I'm going Elijah Arroyo with this pick. With tight end premium, Now, Elijah Arroyo, people were watching this before the combine, is not going to work out at the combine. Supposedly picked up a knee injury at Senior Bowl. I mean, Theo, you correct me if I'm wrong. I didn't see Arroyo limping around anywhere down there. I think this is just straight up. He has been told that he doesn't need to work out. He's going to be a top 50, top 40 pick. There's a ton of teams in the second round. He's going to test well, and he put on a show in Mobile. Elijah Arroyo, I think, is going to get a lot of steam in these coming weeks. So give me him right here.
I love Arroyo. I took him last time. Matt and I did a mock draft. He's my tight end 3 in the class, but I'm a little disappointed we don't get to see the testing numbers. But Miami Pro Day, it might be an insane 40. The guy moves differently, and he's young. There's a ton of juice with Arroyo. Absolute stud. One of the best players in Mobile.
Good reach, D-Bro. Good reach.
Hey, well, what I'm here for, Matt.
There you go. It's one man's reach is another man's flag plant. Matt, you're OTC though.
Am I already on the clock?
You're OTC at the 203.
Wow, this feels so good. I mentioned it earlier. I can't wait any longer. I need to get a wide receiver with first round capital, big time upside. Best wide receiver in the class still available, Travis Hunter. Let's go. Let's go. I have a lot of picks. This is the reason why I traded for all these picks, so I could take big swings. It's not like, oh, you drafted Travis Hunter. Now you can't get Omarion Hampton and Kaleb Johnson. Oh, wait, I have those guys already. Now I'm going max upside with Travis Hunter. If he works his way into a full-time wide receiver role from whatever team, it depends on the team that drafts him. He can work out wherever he wants to work out at the combine. Wide receiver, cornerback. Some team drafts him. They wanted to play corner exclusively. Some team drafts him. They want to play corner with some gadget wide receiver plays. Another team drafts him, says, you know what? We're good at corner. You're a full-time wide receiver. We'll see what happens.
All right, well, there we go.
Yeah,
shout out to the IDP community too, Matt. The IDP community loves that pick.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I mean, like, what do you think the odds are that the team that drafts him uses him primarily as a wide receiver, Matt? That's my concern. I think it's like 10%.
Same.
If it's New England's the one where New England to me is the one because of the lack of wide receivers, and just is this like Vrabel? Is Vrabel not the perfect coach to say, I'm actually going to do the same thing that a guy did in college and have him play both sides of the ball? Vrabel's the one who said he cut off his manhood to win a Super Bowl. Do you think he's going to worry about like the amount of snaps played by somebody? Like that's the one spot where I could see Travis Hunter be drafted as a corner, and then Vrabel's like, you know what, he's going to end up being on the field as much as he can handle as a wideout as well. And the guy is so good on a per snap basis and catches a ton of touchdowns or something like that. So I think that's the out. But I was very disappointed, guys. I wanted him to come out and say that I want to be a wide receiver at the next level. You look at the amount of money some of these guys are getting. Look at like Khalil Shakir's contract. Even like some of these guys that are like not nearly in the same realm as Hunter as a wide receiver prospect are getting paid exceptional amounts of money. There's fewer cornerbacks who are getting these sort of contracts. So I don't know. I don't know if the story's 100% been told. Matt might have gotten a steal, or Matt, you're stuck with a guy who's only on the field for some snaps. So I don't know.
Risk reward, guys.
Theo and Matt, if Hunter was a full-time wide receiver, would you have him ranked ahead of Tet McMillan?
I think probably. I think they would both be side by side, and you'd have to start looking at the numbers. But we'd also have to factor in that Tet McMillan didn't have to play every single snap on defense. Where did Travis Hunter's development as a wide receiver was definitely held back by how good a player he was on both sides of the ball. And he has every single record at Colorado for snaps played in games because he never left the field. So getting to rest and take off the defensive snaps and just play wide receiver. I think wide receiver wise, he's Garrett Wilson, maybe a little more explosive than Garrett Wilson, but I think he's that level of wide receiver. So I think in this class, yeah, he'd be way up there at the top. So again, very disappointed. Pour one out for the hopeful ones like me with Travis Hunter, wide receiver distinction only.
All right, so that leaves me. I'm going to take Colston Loveland. who has fallen to this point at 204. And I'm really looking forward to the online sports books expanding their menu for draft betting options, because I want to take Colston Loveland at plus money to be the first tight end drafted ahead of Tyler Warren. And I think the age thing might matter for teams, with Loveland being only 20 years old, Warren being 22 and a half. And like, I don't want to detract from what Warren did this past year at Penn State. He was a beast. Looked like a George Kittle, Travis Kelce mashup out there, just rampaging through secondaries, but didn't really smash until he was a fifth-year senior. Whereas Loveland has just been like, he hasn't put up the gaudy numbers, but we know Michigan ran like crazy in 2023 with that great national championship team. And in 2024, their quarterbacks were complete trash. So the numbers are not going to look pretty like Tyler Warren's or even like Harold Fannin's, but I wouldn't be surprised if Loveland was to be the first wide receiver taken in this draft. He's a big dude. He's going to be a 3-down tight end, just like Warren. And I wonder if NFL teams might lean into the age thing. So happy to take him here. I know Debro might have some regrets.
I will own the L on this. So the sheet that I had keeping up with our picks and stuff like that, I had Loveland already gone, or I would have taken him with my last pick and not taken Arroyo. So I will own that faux pas and that brain fart there. Just for the people watching this, I'm like, really? You took Arroyo over Loveland? I'm going to own it.
Just to excuse Debro, I started to enter Loveland in as my 112 pick, and then changed my mind and went with Egbuka. So I might have head faked Debro a little bit there. It might have been a.
I got stuck with the Iverson juke. Thanks, Pat.
Okay. I thought this was just excuse making, but this is real. Like,
okay.
you not only deked him out of Loveland, then you selected him. Like, that's pretty dirty. That's one of the dirtier tricks I've ever seen in the history of a mock draft.
Pat is a smart manager. I'm not gonna say he's good.
That's dirty stuff. That's dirty pool.
I am not above Bill Romanowski type dirty tricks.
You're angling.
I was down on the ground and looking for a hand up, and Pat spit in my face. It was a tough scene, boys.
Debro's tight end 2 overall in the class is officially Elijah Arroyo moving forward. I'm OTC here at the 205, and I could go with a running back. I could go with a tight end, but I'm actually going to go wide receiver here, and I'm going to go Matthew Golden. And I think a lot of the enthusiasm Debro has about Tre Harris, I share for Matthew Golden. We only saw 1 year at Texas, but it was a very good one. Led the Longhorns in touchdown grabs, averaged over 17 yards per reception in the SEC, had the massive game in the SEC championship, massive game against Arizona State. I think he's a big play guy. And guys, we talked about those landing spots in the first round. Matt, usually like the two of us after the NFL draft, we usually talk and we have to do like a little bit of corrections in our rookie rankings because of the actual landing spots. I think Golden's the kind of guy where I'm getting ahead of it now, where I think people are going to be having to adjust post NFL draft because the landing spot for Golden's going to be a lot better than some are projecting him to. I think he's a first-round pick in the NFL draft, and I think he's going to run well in Indianapolis. I think he's going to test well. He's got a track background, explosive. Alex Dunlap, big fan of his. Cody Carpentier as well. Those guys obviously do Orange Bloods in addition to Roster Watch. They're big on Golden. Matthew Golden, 205, lock it in.
Yeah, there's a bunch of great landing spots for him in the late first round. Could get the golden parachute.
Love it, Matt. Debro, you're back OTC 206.
That was professional podcasting right there, boys. I love that. That was very nice. Well done, Matt. I'm gonna go, and I guess I'm just planting flags here and going. I love the depth of this running back class. I think I can kind of get a lot of different guys that maybe are day 2, day 3 on that edge, still left on the board that I like. So I maybe I'll surprise people with this in the sense that, like, with what is considered a down wide receiver class, there are a lot of guys that I like. And I like this wide receiver class, honestly, a little bit more than probably consensus. I planted a flag with Tre Harris. I'm going to plant another one here with Jaylin Noel. He crushed it in Mobile, absolutely just eviscerated corners every time he lined up against somebody. Didn't lose a one-on-one. You look at the analytics, it all backs it up. I think he's going to run well. I think he's going to test well. Definitely in the 4.4s. I wouldn't be surprised if he's a touch faster than that. Give me Jaylin Noel here.
I had him wide receiver 6. I had him ahead of Tre Harris in my current pre-combine rankings. I love Jaylin Noel. And
I've got him at wide receiver 5 right now, just to give you some backup there, Theo.
Yeah, I love that pick. Flag planting Debro. That's your new nickname here in the player profiler streets.
As long as I don't get Arroyo tight end too, as long as that doesn't stick, we're good.
We're gonna make sure that we're quote graphicing that, and we're also gonna do. Yeah, no, you're all over it. Matt, you're back OTC. Another layup pick for the Podfather player.
I love Debro's picks very much. I really like him. I love being right behind him, and I love to see these picks coming in. I very much enjoy him selecting players I wasn't even considering, round after round, pick after pick. And I'm just going to do the thing. Like I said, I got my wide receiver with max upside. I got the 101 in the NFL draft at quarterback, and I'm just scooping all the best running backs from here on out. Mark me down for Ollie Gordon. I don't know, 1,700 plus yards in a season, 30 plus catches back-to-back seasons, another big all-purpose running back that is going to slide into a primary back role and eviscerate some vet running back. There's going to be so many veteran running backs in Dynasty that have their value just obliterated by this incredibly deep, the deepest running back class I have ever seen. The more I dig in, the more I love it. And I just need to keep drafting these running backs so you guys can't. That's my new plan.
You're not worried about the way his production cratered last year after that big 2023, after a DUI last summer? That's what I'm worried about. Like, I'm worried about
have down seasons. This happens all the time.
It reminds me a lot of
didn't you draft Luther Burden?
Oh, I mean, that's not wrong.
Yeah,
that's not wrong.
Debro, who was you said he reminded you of who?
Which one? Who's that?
You were just saying Ollie Gordon reminds you of?
Oh, Chuba Hubbard. Yeah, as far as the production profile, like as far as the down final year of college and stuff. So not so much as a comp, but as far as the production profile.
Both Oklahoma State running backs. So yeah, that's a perfect comp.
Right. So shout out to the Oklahoma State running back community. Leave after the big year. Just get out. Go transfer somewhere else.
Yes.
Yes. These Oklahoma State running backs, they hold on too long.
Give the team the Irish goodbye. It's okay. It's okay, boys.
I mean, he's 230 plus pounds. He's catching 30 passes per season. It's the same thesis that I had for Omarion Hampton, but now I get him in the second round.
I mean, very, very good Senior Bowl for Ollie Gordon. I sort of was with you, Pat, on I wanted to dislike Ollie Gordon and drop him in the rankings, but he actually was sort of like the Senior Bowl correction. Because even though there was a ton of good backs in Mobile, Gordon he looks different. He's got great feet. He's huge. He's like a tight end size guy. The wingspan is huge. Like, there's a lot to like about Gordon physically. And even though there was regression, he does have that massive season that he regressed from. So like the tape that is there from 2023 and Oklahoma State was so much worse this past year. So I don't know. We'll see what the NFL teams do think, but I think he's a day 2 guy when it's all said and done. I love your pick though, Pat. Spoiler alert. I see your pick on paper and you sniped me.
Yeah, that is one of the nice things about this class. We get a lot of size at the running back position and the wide receiver position. It's not a lot of scat backs and little slot receivers. Big dudes like Ollie Gordon at running back and like my pick here, wide receiver Elic Ayomanor from Stanford. And, I think he's similar to Tre Harris as a prospect, as one of those big physical wide receivers. I like him a little better. I think he's going to be a little faster than Tre Harris at the combine. And, man, any questions about what kind of player Elic Ayomanor is? Ask Travis Hunter, who got completely lit up like a Christmas tree by Elic Ayomanor in 2023 when Ayomanor had, I think, like 13 catches, just short of 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. Not all of that into the coverage of Travis Hunter, but most of those catches were against Travis Hunter. And Ayomanor is just, this dude is a physical cat, comes from Medicine Hat, Alberta. So like, this is a tough dude who's not going to be bothered by cold weather. I'd kind of like to see him in Green Bay, quite honestly, as a Packers fan. So yeah, and like he dealt with garbage quarterbacking at Stanford. So his numbers were not super sexy, but like, I think this guy's going to come right in and be a really good X receiver for someone in the NFL.
I mocked him in the first round this week, Matt, on my mock draft 3.0 pre-combine one over at playerprofiler.com. I think he's going to have a good combine. He's big. And I love everything you said. Like, if he would have gone to a different school, I think there'd be a little more steam for him. And I think he's the kind of player that when people learn more about him in the process, a lot of people are going to share your enthusiasm, Pat. He's a beast. He's a beast.
Create one of the best blocking receivers in this class, probably the best. Like, I think he comps a little bit to Hines Ward, just a ultra competitor and physical receiver.
I love it. Love it. We are back OTC with me, and I'm going to clean up my tight ends here. So I have a top 4, and I'm going to go with the best statistical season ever at the tight end position. I'm going to go with Harold Fannin Jr., who I dropped behind Arroyo, but it wasn't because Fannin Jr. just did something I didn't like. It's that Elijah Arroyo was just so good. But when it comes to Harold Fannin, I think that there's teams that probably really like him. I don't think he's going to be on every single person's board as like a potential second-round pick, but I think he's going to get second-round NFL draft capital. We need him to land on a team that's willing to play him on a high number of snaps. Hopefully, a team with a creative offensive coordinator. Because if Harold Fannin Jr. lands on a team that just uses him as a mismatch move tight end, I think we could see big-time numbers put up in the sense of like an Evan Ingram type season. Fannin is unbelievable on film, and the numbers are insane. I had Dwayne McFarland recently on Dynasty Life. His model has Fannin Jr. number 1. I know Scott Barrett's model has him way up towards the top. So there's a lot of like the analytical community that's really, really pushing Fannin Jr. I think there are some hurdles with he's got to have a decent combine, only weighed 238 at Mobile. So he's a little on small. He's very on the small side. Matt Kelly does not like that 238 number. But guys, this guy is the real deal as a pass catcher. So this is a risky pick for me, but one that I think could pay off.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing about that weight is you worry that he's maybe not going to be a full-time tight end and maybe plays 50%, 60% of the offensive snaps at that weight. But he's a guy who could also have a really big targets per route run number in the NFL, just because I think he's going to be a guy you want to get the ball to when he's on the field, even if he's not on the field for 80%, 90% of the snaps.
There we go.
I'm worried that Fannin Jr. gets the tweener tag. I'm really worried that if he doesn't come out and test really well at the combine, because I do have some worries about his raw like speed, as far as the 40 and stuff like that. I'm worried that he could get Jaheim Belled. I'm not saying that it definitively happens, but I am worried about it.
D-Bro, Jaheim Bell was not doing what my guy Harold Fannin Jr. was doing on like
Jaheim Bell also didn't go to Bowling Green, bro.
This is true, but what did Harold Fannin Jr. do against Penn State and against Texas A&M? The numbers.
I'm not saying that he's not good. I'm saying that could he get stuck in that tweener role? It could happen.
I'm planting a flag here, guys. Planting a flag and hoping for a strong.
There's no flag planting. This is the perfect place to take Harold Fannin Jr.
Thank you, Matt.
Man. This is not a flag plant pick.
I love
take a tight end too, and Fannin was probably gonna be my pick if you didn't take him.
Love it, Matt. I love D-Bro's pick though. I love what you got on paper here.
Matt is stabbing me in the heart. He already put his pick in after I put in mine. I was hoping that the guy that he picked came back around to my next pick, but I knew it was going to be very difficult. But I'm going with a guy. I'm really curious where, and again, we're doing this all before we know combine and testing and draft capital and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to go with a guy that I really believe in, and I think he can get good enough, like maybe round 3, round 4 draft capital, and that's where a lot of these running backs that are left here are kind of sitting at. I'm going with RJ Harvey. Not only did the film, but the analytics line up that he is a freaking stud. Top 20 in breakaway run rate and elusive rating over the last 2 seasons. My comp for him, again, goes back to a player that I love and continue to love, and hopefully he gets a good spot in free agency this year, is Jaylen Warren. RJ Harvey, come on down, baby. Let's go.
I love RJ Harvey, and I think RJ Harvey is going to gain some value in Indianapolis. This is another guy who had a really, really good Senior Bowl. I love that pick, D-Bro. Matt Kelly, back to you.
So let me get this straight.
Kelly, you're going to hurt me here.
This show it will likely drop on Thursday, the day that the NFL Scouting Combine begins. And we're doing a mock draft without this information. So that's how we've planned out our show programming.
That's it, Matt. This is a and for the people pre-combine mock draft, guys. Pre-combine mock draft.
We at the very least, we're gonna have to expedite the production of the show. Make sure it drops on Wednesday, so we at least have 3 days before the running backs and the wide receivers and quarterbacks test. That's the thing.
Comments are going to be very interesting, Matt. I'll say that.
Yeah, Saturday is when you get all the testing that tight ends are on Friday, but mostly we're tuned in for running backs and wide receivers. And so we'll have a good 3-day run for the show of relevance for that.
All right.
Anyway, a guy that is likely going to be going earlier than this particular selection in every Superflex draft after the combine because he's going to blaze is my pick, Devin Neal.
Oh, that hurt.
Devin Neal's a great pick. That's a great pick.
I was in between Harvey and Neal the entire time. I just knew I should have gone Neal.
This is why we need something like athletic testing, guys, to get through this crowd at running back here. Love the pick, Matt. Devin Neal's a stud. Devin Neal's 220. Devin Neal can catch the ball. He's another guy in many classes. Like we might have taken him at the 112 last year.
Rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat.
Pat, close us out here. We're closing out the second round here with the 212. Pat Fitzmaurice, OTC.
Yeah, Matt made things a little bit easier because I've had a hard time choosing between Devin Neal and Dylan Sampson from Tennessee. So I'm going to take Dylan Sampson here after Matt took Devin Neal away from me. Just blazing fast and love the lateral agility. I think Sampson's going to run a great time at the 40 and pique some interest from dynasty managers. Really good contact balance for a smaller back. Like he's not going to be a heavy duty guy. He can't carry a full load like Omarion Hampton, Kaleb Johnson, maybe Ollie Gordon, but he is going to be as effective as part of a 1-2 punch. Surprisingly good between the tackles for a smaller back and like really smart as a runner, just patient, seems to read his blocks and like know the design of every play. So a guy who kind of pairs good running instincts with like exceptional athleticism. So I'm pretty excited about him. The only catch is like, there's always a question how Tennessee prospects are going to transition into the NFL because Josh Heupel's offensive system is so like gadgety and unique. I mean, I don't mean that as a knock. Heupel's probably the best play caller in college football, but sometimes it's kind of questionable how his guys are going to translate. But I think Sampson has all the tools to make that transition.
He's better than Jaylin Wright was at this point last year.
I think so, yeah.
Jaylin Wright was a high 4th round pick. We're high on Dylan Sampson. We have been at Player Profiler. So I like him a lot. Do you have a weight guess here, D-Bro? I don't think it necessarily, like, he's going to be sort of light. Is he going north of 2? Is he north of 200 pounds?
It depends on what source you're looking at. I've seen him marked anywhere from in the 190s to 210 based off of where you're trying to find his weight. Now, I think he weighs in over 200 and he looks bigger than I've seen some places put him at 190. I don't believe that. I think he's like in that 205 to maybe 210 range. It just depends on, how big of a breakfast he gets and how much water he drinks before he steps on that scale.
James Cook, guys. James Cook. I saw that on X this week, somebody comping him, and I'm like, I wish I came up with that one because I think that's sort of what we want to see. And the numbers were silly, like big time production in the SEC. Let's give a quick recap. Great second round, guys. It's been a lot of fun. I took Quinshon Judkins, running back Ohio State, to start it out. Debro took Elijah Arroyo begrudgingly at the 202, tight end Miami. Matt took Travis Hunter, the cornerback who will play some wide receiver from Colorado. Pat Fitzmaurice took Colston Loveland, tight end Michigan. I took Matthew Golden, wide receiver from Texas. Debro took Jaylin Noel, wide receiver Iowa State. Matt Kelly took running back Ollie Gordon out of Oklahoma State. Pat took wide receiver Elic Ayomanor from Stanford. I took tight end Harold Fannin Jr. from Bowling Green at the 109. Debro took RJ Harvey, running back Central Florida, at the 210. Matt took Devin Neal at the 211, running back Kansas. And Pat wrapped it up with running back Dylan Sampson from Tennessee. Third round, guys. I'll start it out. I'm going to stay with the wide receiver spot. I'm going to go with Jack Betch from TCU, who is another guy that I think, much like Jaylin Noel, post NFL draft will move up the dynasty rankings, because people are going to say, I can't have Jack Betch mocked this late because he was just picked like 36 overall. I think this is a guy that's going to land very well NFL wise. He is bigger and faster than a lot of people give him credit to. Really a impressive guy, pretty rocked up at the wide receiver spot, and not just a slot. He can play inside, can play outside. He could land very, very well. And there's a chance that a team views him as like a stylistic fit and takes him inside the first round. I don't think that's completely out of the ballgame after the Senior Bowl he just had. Jack Betch off the board. Kicking it back to you, D-Bro.
That's a good pick. I love Jack Betch. There's a lot of different ways I can go with this. I feel like it's a flat tier wide receivers. Got picks of a lot of different guys at running back, although I think I'm going to kick the can on running back a little bit further down the road, considering who's left on the board. I think I'm going to go back to the tight end position, and I mean to make this pick. Okay, so I want to say this with my chest. Going back to we talked about this collegiate program earlier. There's only so much like that you can pull out of the analytics for some of the guys coming out of Texas, just because of how bad Quinn Ewers has been over the last few years.
Awful.
Gunnar Helm, I think, is going to surprise people at the combine, man. And tight end premium, he has been fighting with Elijah Arroyo as my tight end 3. I'm going to take him off the board here. I love Gunnar Helm.
Yak King.
Yeah, there's something to be said when a dude ranks 3rd in Yak last year amongst tight ends and 6th in missed tackles forced. He's a problem after that once he gets the ball in his hands.
Matt Kelly, get people started pre-combine. This is the pick everybody's been waiting for.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Are you ready? Are we ready to rinse, repeat one more time?
Oh, it's a good pick.
You guys are doing this again. We're doing this again. We're letting me have the guy that had the big production that's about to run fast, because where we have him in the rookie rankings now is aggressive based on his production, but we know this guy is fast. He's 210 pounds. I mean, he is the pinnacle, exemplary running back from this class. The guy I would point to, like, there's a reason why this running back class is so great. The fact that this guy is barely cracking the top 10 is the reason why this running back class is the best. It is certainly the deepest. And after the combine, we could just say it's just purely the best running back class of all time. Bashol Tootin. 12 touchdowns, then 17 touchdowns. Another running back that puts together back-to-back 20-plus catch season. Just 22 years old, just turned 22. Why not? Why not Tootin, man? I'm tooting this horn. This is the guy. Gonna run the 4.35, and I get the big bruiser back, the 230-pound running back. I get the slasher. I've got some satellite backs in mind. Just trying to create a menagerie of running backs here. That's what we're doing.
I can't wait to watch him run at the combine. But the thing is, like, he's not just a pure speed guy. Like, he's actually hard to bring down.
Yes.
Like, he does not go down easily. I love that pick, man.
And we are going in rapid fire mode. So whatever explanation of your pick you were giving before, cut it in half, boys.
Cam Scatterbo. I was kind of a skeptic, but he has won me over. I mean, this dude is just tough and productive, and like casual fans kind of learned about him when he had that crazy game against Texas in the playoffs. Just ultra physical. I know he's not the biggest dude, but like I just think this guy is such a gamer that I think it's going to work in the NFL.
Back to me. I'm OTC here at the 205, and it's about time. I'm in the third round. I'm going to take Jalen Milroe here, who Jalen Milroe is going to run sub 4.45 speed at the combine. Again, this is a guy
I forgot about Milroe.
Milroe's not going to be, I don't think, a long-term starting quarterback in the NFL, but anytime he's on the field, he's an absolute starter for us in Superflex because of his rushing ability. He hit 22.5 miles per hour in an SEC game last year on a long touchdown run. Milroe, lock him in here. 305, great value.
Strong arm too. Debro hates him though. Ask
Debro hates him, but again, Debro at the 305.
I like quarterbacks that can actually throw the ball too.
This is a fair thing. But at the end of the day, 305, especially in deeper dynasty leagues,
it's good value.
Lock it in. Anytime he's on the field, he's a starter for you in fantasy.
He's somewhere on the Anthony Richardson, Malik Willis continuum. And even if it's more towards Malik Willis, like
I think it's more of the Tavares Jaxson radar. Patty.
I know. I hate that one, Debro. I've heard you say that.
I'm just saying, man.
All right, I want to do over after that one. Debro, who's your pick here at the 306?
I'm hopefully digging into Matt Kelly's pockets here and going with the satellite back that he likes, but we shall see what he says about this one. You want to talk about everything that everybody hoped Kenny Gainwell would be? I think that is Brashard Smith. Locked, packaged, set it, forget it, going to run a 4.4. True wide receiver, can run routes. He's going to be a weapon in the NFL. In the PPR leagues, dude, if I'm in the third round, Brashard Smith, let's go.
Oh, that's a good pick. That's your first snipe of the day.
I'm trying to make up for it, Kelly. I feel like
that was your first snipe of the day.
Oh,
what do I do? Do I reach at this point? I'm considering reaching for a tight end. I do need a tight end, but I can't. I'm going to wait one more round. I'm going to try to put it off one more round. See if I can get away with it. Maybe I can get a guy that has 2 40-catch seasons on his resume. I'm going Woody Marks. I'm again hoarding running backs, just hoarding them up. That's my guy. Why not? I mean, he's not my guy, but he's my guy at this particular pick. I'm catching the value. You guys are falling to me.
Pat, OTC here, and you sniped me. I just saw who you write in, one of my guys for a while now.
Yeah, Damian Martinez, the running back from Miami. And he is a 230-pound dude who runs like he weighs 200. And the last time there was a guy like that where I saw a big dude who ran like a scat back, it was Le'Veon Bell at Michigan State. And I'm not saying that Damian Martinez is going to be the second coming of Le'Veon Bell, but I do really like this guy. And, for me, I think he's a top 10 running back in a great running back class. So to get him in the mid third, I'm pretty happy with.
Yeah, I love Damian Martinez. I think he's a beast, and I think he's underrated right now because of the depth of the class. It's Trey Benson last year and Damian Martinez are not that different, and Benson was a third-round pick. I got to do it again, guys. I'm at a point in the draft where I don't really love the player, but I think when we're talking about NFL draft capital, Isaiah Bond here at the 309 is going to be drafted very, very highly. I think he's going to be the fastest wide receiver in Indianapolis at the combine, blazing speed. And we've seen him also at Alabama make big plays. I don't think he's just like a run down the field cardio guy for some teams. So again, he's going to have a chance because of the speed and the draft capital.
Well, apparently, I just love certain collegiate programs at this point. I've cornered the market on Ole Miss, and apparently I'm cornering the market on Iowa State wide receivers. I'm telling you right now, if Jaden Higgins lands in a spot where they allow him to play 50-50 inside-outside, this dude could be Michael Thomas 2.0. He is a dominator in the short and intermediate. He crushes guys with inside leverage and his size. Theo, tell me I'm wrong, man. Like, didn't he just absolutely perform at Mobile? I'm taking him here.
Yeah, Jaden Higgins was a stud in Mobile. And it'll be interesting to see how he actually runs the 40 in. But he's deceptively heavy, where it's like the big lower body, skinny up top. I like Higgins. Shout out to Iowa State. Iowa State just churning out wide receivers this year. Kicking it back over to Matt Kelly. Finally, Matt, you get to take one.
I'm going tight end, guys. I'm going tight end. So I have some questions.
Okay.
What if Oronde Gadsden was healthy 2 years ago and he had 3 straight years with 900 yards, just getting better, more efficient year after year? You can see the yards per reception continuing to climb. Or what if Oronde Gadsden played at some place like, I don't know, Bowling Green or Ball State? What kind of numbers do you think he would have put up? So if we're going to be drafting tweener tight ends in hope that they fill out and they could eventually, you've seen it time and time again, start with that athletic base, add 10 pounds, which a lot of these tight ends end up doing, get to 250. You can be an every down tight end. I'm going Oronde Gadsden.
That's a good pick.
Love
Like
it.
that pick, Kelly.
Love it. And keep him away from anybody who says that he might be classified as a wide receiver. Just mute that guy, because we cannot have that for fantasy football. He needs to stay tight end.
No, he's a tight end. He's a tight end. And this is a tight end premium league.
100%.
So tight end premium, if I'm going to stray away from the running back position, it's going to be tight end right here at the end of the third round. I had these extra picks.
Pat, close us out here in the third.
I love and hate you for this pick. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Yeah, I'm between
Before
two wide receivers right now. There's the safe play, the solid single to left field, or the swing for the fences. I think I'm going to swing for the fences with Jaylin Royals. Just really good route runner, really good after the catch. Kind of the Jerry Jeudy recipe for NFL success. Hopefully it won't take Jaylin Royals 5 years to finally pop in the NFL. But yeah, he's interesting, and he's a guy I did not have that high in my wide receiver rankings kind of early on. And the more I've seen from him, and honestly, the more I've seen smart people like praise him, the higher I've gotten on Jaylin Royals.
Yeah, I like Jaylin Royals a lot. I actually, this is I might have considered taking him, but I forgot that he was still on the board on this method of.
Is he going first round?
I think he's a second round pick.
Day 2.
Yeah, I think he's a strong second round pick. I think he's going to help himself at the combine.
Yeah, he told me in Mobile that he was playing at 80%, so he had a foot injury to end the season. And in Mobile, like, the long speed was not that impressive, but just an absolute bull underneath. Was killing people in the one-on-ones. He's built like a running back, like 210 pounds, but very, very well built. I love the way you close that out. Guys, a little quick recap for the third round. I took Jack Betch from TCU at the 301. Debro took Gunnar Helm, tight end, Texas, at the 302. Matt Kelly took Bashal Tootin, running back, Virginia Tech, at the 303. Pat took Cam Scattaboo, running back, Arizona State, at the 304. I took Jalen Milroe, quarterback, Alabama, at the 305. Debro took Brashard Smith, running back, SMU, at the 306. Matt took Woody Marks at the 307, running back, USC. Pat took running back Damian Martinez at the 308. I took wide receiver Isaiah Bond out of Texas at the 309. Debro took Jaden Higgins, Iowa State, at the 310. Matt Kelly took Oronde Gadsden, the tight end, out of Syracuse, at the 311. Pat closed us out with Jaylin Royals at the 312. We're in the fourth round. I'm going to start it out. LaQuint Allen, 20-year-old, big-time pass catcher, led the nation in receptions this year at Syracuse at the running back position. Shout out to Dave Kluge. Pat had the Allen Iverson comp for Luther Burden, but Dave Kluge owns the room because he says LaQuint Allen is Ozempic Derrick Henry, just in sort of the way he's built with the wingspan and all that. I thought that's the big shout out to Dave Kluge on that one. So LaQuint Allen, pass catching ability, similar argument to Debro's Brashard Smith and Matt's Woody Marks picks. I'm getting a discount on another pass catching back with some juice here. Kicking it over to you, Debro, 402.
I have a type apparently in this draft, and that is satellite back. I want you to catch passes. I like highly athletic. I like highly productive. So I'm going to go with a guy that had at least 297 receiving yards, crushed it with at least 1.8 yards per route run in each of the last 2 years. Small school guy. I love Marcus Yarns. one-on-ones in Mobile. He crushed. I think that NFL teams are going to like him more than maybe fantasy gamers. I know he's not 200 pounds. At this point, we've seen enough Kyron Williams, Bucky Irving, sub 200-pound backs carve out roles. Austin Eckler still looking at you, and I'm going to take the swing here on another satellite back.
Love it. Kicking it to you, Matt Kelly, at the 403.
Rinse, repeat. Follow the process. 1,200 plus yards back-to-back seasons. 20 plus catches back-to-back seasons. Averaging 10 touchdowns the last 2 seasons. 300 receiving yards the last 2 seasons. DJ Giddens.
I love that pick.
Good pick.
Such a smooth mover. Like, I don't know if he's going to run the fastest 40 time, but like he is just a really good football player.
The veteran running backs in the NFL need to be terrified of this class. Absolutely terrified. And if you're clinging to the RB3 role on some team, whether you're Ty Johnson, whether you're Ronnie Rivers, whoever the hell you are, start looking for a profession in some other field.
And not to interrupt you, Pat, but I love that. Like, I think that's, Matt, I've heard you say that before, and it's absolutely true. But guys, also the younger running backs who have failed to launch. You talk about guys like Trey Benson, who I like, guys like Jaylin Wright, who I like, guys like Blake Corum, who I like. Last year's class, like, there's going to be backs come in, and they're going to be able to be taking guys on day 3. They're going to give them competition for this clear path handcuff job.
Everybody. Are you a dusty old running back like Austin Eckler? Are you a guy that had moments that flashed last year like Ray Davis, super young? Are you a guy that thinks that the backfield is yours? You're going to inherit a bell cow role like Jaylen Warren? All of these guys are in for a big surprise in the NFL draft with these running backs.
This is the retirement party. This class of rookie running backs. They're coming in with their gold watches. Here you go, Ezekiel Elliott, Gus Edwards. Have a gold watch.
All gone. They're all gone. It's going to be just a complete house cleaning. They're coming in with mops and brooms and disinfectant, and they're just sweeping in and just everything, cleaning. Everything must go. Right? It's like one of those houses after the Hoarders show is done, and you can't believe, like, we had all this junk laying around, all these Ezekiel Elliott's laying around in the corner, everything collecting dust, and now it's like spotless. It looks beautiful. We're looking at
Leonard
DJ
Fournette
Giddens.
getting
We're
any
looking at
calls
Woody
for any
Marks. We're
bookings.
looking at all these beautiful running backs. Just this is what we've been waiting for.
I'll give one more shout out to Thor just because he was an awesome dude and also was so good on my pod. But he brought up, like, in 2017 we saw Green Bay take Aaron Jones and also Jamal Williams.
Mm-hmm.
This is a double tap year where we might have, like, pulling our hair out. We saw the Jets do it last year where they double tapped running backs on day 3. A number of teams could just double tap and let guys go compete for the running back 2 versus the running back 3 job.
Think about teams that are going to be competing for a Super Bowl. Okay. Think about teams competing for a Super Bowl. And this is the final piece that they need. And you've got these guys in the backfield that they've monopolized the backfield over the last couple of years. And imagine the text exchange when that happens, when that team goes and double taps running back. Imagine the text exchange between Brian Robinson and Austin Eckler.
Isaiah Pacheco and Samaje Perine.
Imagine the text exchange. Just imagine these text exchange where these guys are like, what just happened to us? Roshan and DeAndre Swift. They're going to be like, what just happened?
100%. It's going to be so exciting for us in Dynasty as well, just trying to rank these guys post-draft with the landing spots, because we're going to probably like a lot of the landing spots too.
And there's going to be, don't forget about the guys that are going to dismiss the pick, not realizing that they're at risk, right? And don't forget about, like, a David Montgomery, where they're drafting to replace Craig Reynolds. And the next thing you know, David Montgomery is like, too bad we're losing Reynolds. No big deal. Doesn't lose any sleep over it. Shows up in camp and he's like, oh shit. That's going to happen to a bunch of these guys, a bunch of these number twos that think they're in great shape. They think they're all Jaylin Wright thinks he's going to glide into camp right behind. And suddenly he doesn't have that lock on the number 2 job he thought he did. Think about Tyler Algier. Like, these guys are not going to think that they're at risk. They're just going to think that they're filling out the roster in round 5, not actually knowing that, wait, that guy was more productive and is more athletic than me with similar capital. I actually should be worried. But they don't realize it. They're not going to realize it until day 1 of training camp.
Love it. Love it. Pat, back to you, 404.
Yeah, we love the running back depth in this class. And I think we like the tight end depth. And there's a tight end who's still on the board who I want to grab right here, Mason Taylor from LSU. With the football bloodlines, the son of former edge rusher for the Miami Dolphins, Jason Taylor. And one of the things I like about Mason Taylor is that he is a big dude. He profiles as a 3-down NFL running back. So, the receiving numbers at LSU were not exceptional, but I do think there's a lot of growth potential here. And in a tight end premium format, getting Mason Taylor in the 4th round seems like pretty good value to me.
Yeah, I think he's an NFL starter, and he's 20 years old. He'll be a starting tight end. It's just the fantasy upside, that for me, that's it with Mason Taylor, but he will be on the field. The guy's an absolute unit. Father's Jason. Love that pick. Love that value. I'm going to take Savion Williams, the freaky athlete in this entire draft class at the wide receiver position. This is where we can swing for the fences because it's the 4th round, guys. And Savion Williams is going to be 6'4", going to be, guys, I don't know how much he weighs, but he might weigh close to 240. He's like 235 solid, and he flies. This is Bruce Feldman's freaks list guy. He's going to run like a 4.4 flat at 235, 6'4", maybe sub 4.4. All the strength numbers. He's going to have insane vertical leap. Will he play some running back, or is he maybe he's the guy that you use sort of like a Cordero Patterson? But if Savion Williams lands with a creative offensive coordinator and they find a way to maximize that athleticism, he could be a fun dice roll fantasy pick at this level in the draft.
I like that pick, Theo. I saw you typing somebody else's name, and I was going to sit here and pick Savion, so I hate that you sniped me here. But really, really solid pick, man. You hit the nail on the head. 4th round. This is where we're hitting home runs here. I'm going to go with a guy that's coming from a bigger program. I think he's getting lost in the scrum kind of all these of all the good running backs in this class. I'm going to go Trevor Etienne. I know I didn't come off with a monster season in 2024, but if you look back to 2023, still a player that was 15th in yards after contact per attempt, top 24 in elusive rating. I think that, again, can he ascend to be an RB2 on an NFL team and knock somebody else off the pedestal? I think it can happen.
Matt Kelly.
Again, why I love this class so much is that I've never had these kinds of opportunities in round 4.
Mm-hmm.
It's the running backs. There's something that you're clinging to, but it's not like, oh, this guy's 20 years old and he just went for 1,200 yards and 15 touchdowns and 26 catches at a major conference. You don't typically get guys like Jordan James in the 4th round of a dynasty rookie draft. That's what's happening. There's so much talent here. It's displacing these deeper running backs, and they're going into the 4th round and even the 5th round. I love a 5th round of a dynasty rookie draft more than any other year because there's so much depth at the running back. I'm happy to just keep going back to RB well into the 5th round. If you don't have a 5th round in your dynasty draft, for your rookie draft, you should do it this year.
But we will not be doing a 5th round here, guys. Spoiler.
No, but I'm just saying, I'm going Jordan James, and I have one more pick, and I'm hoping to get yet another running back that I love, and then I have 5 more I'd like to pick.
Love it. Pat, who you got?
Yeah, I could keep the running back party going, but I'm going to go for a wide receiver here, Xavier Restrepo from the Miami Hurricanes, Cam Ward's #1 receiver, just an NFL ready-made slot receiver. Really sharp, crisp route runner. Like, I think he's got a high floor, probably not the highest ceiling, but for the 4th round, like some years, I think with all the running back talent, it's going to drive some pretty good wide receiver prospects down the board too. So I'm happy to get Restrepo here.
Yeah, no, Restrepo was one that was like a disappointing Senior Bowl, but unbelievable film. It'd be interesting to see where he ends up getting drafted. He's like 5'9". We want him to be a little bit taller, but he was so good at Miami this year. For me, I'm going to go with the running back spot. My final pick, I'm going to take Jarquez Hunter, running back Auburn. This is another player where he might test very, very well. It's super strong running back. I know Alex Dunlap and Cody Carpentier, both big fans of his. I'm keeping an open mind with him, how he does at the combine, but another strong SEC profile out of Auburn. Quez Hunter can play.
Yeah, I like Quez Hunter. It's a good pick, Theo. I'm going to go back to the quarterback room for a guy that I think is the QB4 in this class. And this is really at this point in the draft, again, just taking swings on certain positions. And if they pan out, whether after this roster and after this team, can you trade them if they get a run a cup of coffee as a starter? That's where we're going to take the leap with Tyler Shuck here. I know he's 25. I know all the jokes and people make about him being old. And he's a quarterback, dude. He's a quarterback. He's 25 and he's a quarterback. I don't freaking care. That doesn't matter. I think he can get like late round 2, round 3 capital. And if he gets a run, very Davis Mills-esque run sometime this year as a starter for a team and does well, I'm flipping him in Dynasty.
Wow. That's a pretty thin thread, D-bro. I'm going back to running back.
We're in the 4th round, Kelly. Come on.
What you need to be doing, going back to running back. I know the Pats, he's soaking up these wide receivers and tight ends. Wait, it was Mason Taylor. That's not a bad pick. Restrepo. Woof. So we're gonna see. I'm gonna leave more. I'm gonna leave more receivers for Pat to vacuum up and then drop in 6 months. I'm going Kyle Monangai. He is a running back from Rutgers. And remember the case for Pacheco? That, he was at Rutgers. That's why he didn't produce. Well, this guy put up 1,200 yards back-to-back seasons after Pacheco left. He just didn't have okay, in the 4th round, you're not going to get a guy with 30-plus catches. Okay, he doesn't have 30-plus catches, but we know he can run. And if he's a better receiver than he showed in college, that's a huge win. And so we'll see how athletic he is. That's a big question. So that's going to be answered soon.
That guy is an absolute warrior. He's sort of the anti-Damian Martinez, a big back who runs like a scat back. Monangai is 5'9" and runs like he's got Ollie Gordon's body. Like, he is just fearless, man. Like, he will lower his shoulder and try to barrel over guys who outweigh him by 40 pounds. Love that pick.
He's a really impressive runner. That's what we'll say.
The only thing is a 5'9" guy, you wish he caught passes. And maybe there's upside there, but we just didn't see it at Rutgers.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see if it happens. Let's see if this is what I'm talking about. There's upside there. If this guy can catch passes and he puts on a little bit of weight, woo.
Pat Fitzmaurice, close us out here. The end of the 4th round.
All right, let's close it out with a swing for the fences, Theo. Let's go with the wide receiver who led FBS in touchdown catches last year with 16, had over 100 receptions. It's Nick Nash from San Jose State. Really interesting story. Ooh. Converted quarterback who has this rare combination of size and speed. He's 6'3", and I think he's going to probably run like right around 4.4, maybe a little higher than 4.4, but just huge pterodactyl-like catch radius. And like with his quarterback experience, it seems to help him, especially against zone coverage. He has a knack for finding soft spots. Needs a little route running refinement, which, you're going to get for a guy who's only played wide receiver for a couple of years. But I do think Nick Nash is pretty big time upside.
I love it, guys. We made it through 4 rounds. Let's recap the 4th round for our podcast audience. I started out in the 4th round at the 401 with LaQuint Allen, running back Syracuse, Debro at the 402, Marcus Yarns, running back Delaware, Matt Kelly, running back DJ Giddens at the 403. Pat took Mason Taylor, the tight end out of LSU, at the 404. I took Savion Williams at the 405, wide receiver / running back / Wildcat quarterback from TCU. Debro took Trevor Etienne at the 406, running back out of Georgia. Matt Kelly took Jordan James, running back out of Oregon, at the 407. Pat took Xavier Restrepo, wide receiver Miami, at the 408. I took Quez Hunter, running back Auburn, at the 409. Debro took Tyler Shuck, the quarterback out of Louisville. I almost said Texas Tech there. And then Matt took Kyle Monangai, the running back out of Rutgers. And Pat took wide receiver Nick Nash out of San Jose State. This was awesome today, guys. Matt and I will be back. We're going to recap the NFL Combine. We're going to talk about some Combine winners. Look for that on the next Sonic Truth, maybe some breakouts. Matt, anything to add here?
Pat, don't let anyone tell you that you don't know how to light rookie picks on fire.
Lee!
Make sure you're following these guys, Pat Fitzmaurice, Debro, everything they put out. Our friends over at Fantasy Pros, they are just crushing it. Stick with the Sonic Truth. We're going to help you crush your dynasty leagues this season.
Hey, I want to thank you for being part of this broadcast. If you have any thoughts on it, leave a comment. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like. And if you want to see more shows on the Player Profiler channel, subscribe to it. That's how we know you want more.